Hello again and welcome back for your third helping. Today, yes it is recording. Today I'm going to talk about some of the different things that you can and cannot talk to French people or Australians about. It's usually quite funny going to another country and finding out that all your conversation topics are horrendously improper. For example, I'm told the French do not like to talk about money, talk about their salaries. So I can only imagine how debilitating that would be for conversation at dinner towards the end of the evening when you know you have to split a bill, but one of you is broke. So how does a French person admit that they are broke? That they are so poor they may have to dive headfirst into a bin to feed themselves for another day. I see in Australia you come outright and say it. You just say, I'm so poor I shared my dinner with the dog. It wasn't his dinner, it was the dog's dinner. We've all been there. I am guilty of eating dog food because I was drunk. I wasn't that hungry, I was just drunk. And I can only imagine how tough that would be in a job interview when you're applying for a job, a young French person, a young French man. We have trouble with this one in Australia too. A young man will go into a job interview not knowing what the salary will be. He won't know what he's going to be paid. And so the boss says, okay, thank you very much, you've interviewed very well, we'll take you, you've got the job. How does that young man then say, actually, what's the pay gonna be? So I've been lucky. In all the jobs I've gone for, it was the employer, the boss, who came straight outright and said, okay, this is going to be your salary, it will be this, it will be that, you will be paid this much. So I was always spared the awkward question when they say, okay, how do you feel the interview went? I think it went very well. I think I went, yeah, I'll be great for this job, yes, blah, blah, blah. Do you have any questions for us? So what's the pay like? I'm sure that's just as awkward for them. So if we have trouble with that in Australia, where we are famous for having no social filter, I can only imagine how god-awful that must be for the French. I worked in a liquor store for 3 years, and customers would just come in and start talking about their mortgage and their bills and their expenses, and they would complain about the price of things and try to haggle over liquor. Like 90% of liquor sales all goes to tax anyway. I don't know why they're trying to bargain anyway. And the other huge thing, this is something the French do talk about that we don't. So in Australia, you're at a restaurant, in a cafe, and you get a bad coffee, or you get some kind of bad drink. It's mixed badly, or your food comes out a bit burnt, or it's cold, or it's the wrong order. In Australia, you grit your teeth, smile, and eat. In France, the first thing you do is garçon, and you hand it back, and you swap it. You get a new one, or you get a free one. You complain the second something is not to your taste. And I've watched my friends here do that. Each time I was mortified. It always tends to be me who gets the bad batch. I will get the rotten chicken, I'll get a bad apple, I'll get the wrong order, something I did not order. But for the love of God, do not send it back. I'll never do that. My friends all say, yeah, you have to send it back, they'll give you a new one. But why would you do that in Australia? And I've done this job, I've served food. In Australia, if someone complains about the food, if they're nice, if they're polite, that's okay. But I've watched how my friends do it. Hand up, no, this is burnt, give me another one. You did that in Australia, they would spit in your new one. Spit in it. I've seen it happen. I've seen worse things done to food, to customers that we didn't like. So, in Australia we have a rule. You do not fuck with the person that prepares your food. You just don't do it. If they give you bad food, you had it coming. in France, I don't know why you risk that, why you take that risk that the person who's preparing your food, you want to risk pissing them off. So those right there, I think, are the two biggest differences in our conversation, social protocol between Australians and French. You guys like to kiss a lot, the French are always kissing, and that for us is hard. That's very strange. That's strange. I don't know who to kiss, and the other thing is we don't have formal you or casual you in English, so I'm constantly tu voyez. Don't know whether to tutoyer or vous voyez. I struggle. So vous voyez, everyone. If I'm not sure, I mix. I throw the two together. Yeah. It's tough. Thank you. I'll leave it at that.